ahead on 12 News, no hair, no problem. Why it paid to be bald today. Plus, a trashy dilemma, how new technology is causing issues for curbside cleanup. But first, add or not to add why a third lane isn't necessarily the best solution to curb congestion on Interstate 94. 12 News starts right now. Hello, everyone. Earlier this year, state and federal lawmakers proposed adding additional lanes to Interstate 94 between Maple Grove and St. Cloud.
The plan was aimed at easing congestion, but state traffic experts say additional lanes could make the problem worse. Delane Cleveland explains.
At any hour of any day, traffic zooms by on I-94 as people travel from point A.
Well, I was up to North Dakota for a memorial service and headed back
To point B.
We're just coming back from the cabin, a weekend at the cabin hanging out.
But whether drivers can get to those places without a few headaches is another question.
When we've gone on holiday weekends, that's when it really is tough. You get stuck in various parts here and close to the cities.
Well, yes, on all of the, everywhere, not just here.
Some lawmakers think adding another lane on 94 could solve the congestion problem.
We're getting some interest, we're getting traction, and this is where it begins.
Michelle Bachmann tried to rally support for the plan back in March.
That is one of the vital arteries.
Public opinion, however, was mixed.
Well, I think it'd be a good idea for a ways. I mean, it's, what is it, 3-lane now to Rogers?
Well, I think if it's needed, it's great.
I think there's a better solution.
The Metropolitan Council also thinks there's a better solution. A spokeswoman today said, "It appears this corridor does not experience the extent and duration of congestion as other metro freeway facilities," and added, "Resources for an expansion may be difficult to come by." A report by the St. Cloud Times found that an extra lane would make congestion even worse near the 494 and 694 junction because it would bring vehicles more quickly to the bottleneck, which means the real answer is up for debate. Drivers seem to have their own solutions.
And that's to start down, somewhere around Rochester, south of Rochester, and make a new interstate going up to maybe Alexandria or St. Cloud. Bypass the whole Twin Cities area.
I think everybody should have float planes.
Everybody should have planes, there you go. So what is the answer really? Well, rather than simply adding additional lanes, transportation officials suggested a combination that includes new ramp meters, min-pass lanes, and expanded public transportation. And Mike and Alex, in case you guys were wondering, the cost to expand I-94 from Maple Grove to St. Cloud, price tag of about $300 million.
Okay. Cheaper than planes.
Well, yeah, there you go, I
Thanks
suppose.
a lot,
All right, interesting. Thanks, Delane. Well, 2 months ago, Brooklyn Park turned down a plan by FedEx to build a distribution center along Highway 610, but the city council didn't believe it would generate enough jobs. Now, a proposal from a different company just may be what the city is looking for. 12 News has confirmed that a Japanese-based medical device manufacturer is looking to relocate from Maple Grove to Brooklyn Park. That company is Olympus Surgical Technologies. Its Maple Grove facility has more than 300 employees. According to Brooklyn Park officials, Olympus is looking at a site south of 610 near Target's northern campus.
The Osseo City Council will hear from residents tonight on the future of its nearly 100-year-old water tower. It's possible there could be a decision. The tower is no longer used, but some residents believe it should be preserved. A city report shows it could cost $300,000 to make needed repairs. Another option is to take down the water tower. That would cost the city $30,000.
The Brooklyn Park City Council will examine the fire department budget tonight. According to Brooklyn Park's fire chief, there is an urgent need to make investments. City documents show the fire department is experiencing a significant increase in calls. Based on calls per 1,000 residents, Brooklyn Park ranks third in the state, behind only Duluth and St. Paul. Early October is usually a time for Crystal and New Hope residents to get rid of unwanted junk.
But as Eric Nelson found out, those cities are delaying curbside pickup because no one can do the job.
They are talking trash in Crystal and New Hope these days. That's because popular curbside cleanup programs are in jeopardy. Newer garbage trucks simply can't do the job.
It's a nice contract. It's about $200,000 that we pay the hauler, but if they don't have the equipment. So now they're scooting around looking for equipment. Apparently there's some in St. Cloud.
The reason curbside pickup is becoming such a challenge is because this kind of truck, where you can load it from the back, is becoming extinct.
The curbside cleanup conundrum has been fostered by technology. The new fleet on the street today is safer, more energy efficient, and uses an automated sidearm to pick up garbage cans. But the trucks are not designed to collect large, bulky junk from the curb.
This is really, really a good benefit. But we don't have trucks. If we don't have trucks, we can't pick up the stuff.
Allied Waste is keeping some older trucks running and is trying to come up with new designs in the future. The company says it is committed to curbside cleanup because getting rid of clutter is good for everyone.
One of the people that handles the recycling for one of the cities we serve is also the fire chief. And he said going into a house where the clutter's there, it makes it difficult to fight a fire.
Stuff accumulates. And when we can get people's garages and sheds and basements and we can get rid of that stuff, it really makes for a cleaner city.
If curbside collection does vanish, there are drop-off options for residents. But the caveat is it can be costly and tiresome.
They don't serve the folks we're really trying to get to, and that's folks who don't have a truck, who don't have the disposable income to pay that $50 at a transfer station.
In New Hope, Eric Nelson, 12 News.
Crystal and New Hope are hoping the curbside collection program can resume in the spring. Coming up, the big Vikings project that just may be the cure for jobs at a Maple Grove cement company.
Then later in sports, the Hopkins girls soccer team ends one incredibly long drought.
But first, a cold slap in the face. The atmosphere will be chilly enough for snowflakes by next weekend.
On a chilly day like this, it may feel a little uncomfortable, but it does pay to be bald. Over at Three Squares Restaurant, it was Bald and Free Day. Bald patrons could get a free meal up to $15 worth. It's quite a deal for the follically challenged.
Our owner, David Burley, is just a fantastic man with so many ideas, you know, and it's very few and far between when you actually get to see somebody who's rewarded for having a bald head or, you know, being short or being whatever it happens to be.
Well, my wife values it, so.
Well, it's great for the ego.
The bald customers say they were surprised to get a free meal when they stopped in. When ground is broken on the new $975 million Viking Stadium, the site will be the source of thousands of construction jobs.
In this week's Business Matters, there's a lot at stake for one Maple Grove company hoping to get work on the new stadium. At the site of Maple Grove's latest apartment complex, a 27,000-pound concrete wall is hoisted into place like a giant Lincoln log set for a new 5-story parking garage.
The average piece weighs about 65,000 pounds.
Maple Grove-based subcontractor Hanson Structural Precast is doing the heavy lifting on this project. Back at the Hanson plant, cement is poured and cured to form the massive concrete pieces that are then shipped to construction sites like the one in Maple Grove. This parking ramp is one of 32 construction projects underway for this Maple Grove company, but they're hoping to land a multi-million-dollar deal for a very public project.
Yes, we definitely want to be part of the Viking Stadium.
Hanson's bid is in for work on the new $975 million Viking Stadium. There's competition on the line for the job, but Hanson has stadium experience on its side.
Well, this is an aerial photograph that we took of TCF Bank Stadium while it was under construction.
From TCF Bank Stadium to Target Field,
it's very exciting to be part of these high-profile projects.
This local company has played a role in every stadium dating back to the old Mets Center.
Everybody in this company is constantly asking me all day long if I've heard anything, because they all want to be part of this project.
Getting the Viking Stadium contract could mean 100 jobs, including up to 50 new hires for Hanson and 2 years of work.
In each of those 2 years, it could probably be 25% of our overall workload.
Back at their Maple Grove project site,
It'd be nice. It's the last stadium that's going to get put up for a long time.
Foreman Eddie Schmitz is eager to oversee another stadium project. There's jobs at stake, but there's also pride on the line.
It comes down to the pride of having been part of some of these bigger projects, including the Minnesota Vikings Stadium.
Hanson should find out within the next 30 days if they won the bid for work on the new stadium. Coming up, giant creations that go by the names Angus, Sasquatch, and Orange Crush.
But first, action from week 7 in high school football. John Jacobson has your roundup next.
Most, if not all, of the current players in Saturday's Wayzata Hopkins Section 6AA girls soccer game weren't even born the last time Hopkins beat the Trojans. Defending state champion Wayzata hosting Hopkins in the 6AA semifinals. Watch Elaine DeYoung blocking the Wayzata clearing attempt, and she is in alone and scores. It's a 1-0 Hopkins lead 15 minutes in. Wayzata generates some good chances later in the first half. Royals goalkeeper Gretchen Patterson making the diving stop there. It stays 1-0 Hopkins until under 5 minutes remain. That's when Kaylin Billmeyer's corner kick is headed in by Michaela Nelson. Wayzata ties it up at 1-1. After scoreless overtimes, we go to a shootout, and Hopkins' fifth shooter, Rachel St. Clair, wins it. Hopkins snaps a 43-game winless streak against Wayzata dating back to 1995. They'll play at Minnetonka Tuesday for the Section 6AA title. In Section 5A girls, 8-seeded Minneapolis Edison face top seed Park Center. First half, the Tommies can't clear. Hannah Schaub knocks it in for the Pirates in a 1-0 lead. Jill Rosby, nice pass, setting up Tessa Lander here, and Lander is in the clear. She shoots and scores, and it's 2-0. And not too much trouble for Coach Raul Garcia's Pirates on this day. Schaub will pick up an assist on this one, passing to Rosby. And she taps it in. 3-0 Pirates, and they lead 4-0 at halftime. They go on to win it by a score of 11-0. Also in the Section 5A quarterfinals, Tutino Grace downs Heritage 3-0. Maranatha edges Big Lake 1-0. And it sets up Tuesday's semifinals at Park Center. The top-seeded Pirates meet Maranatha at 5. Monticello takes on Tutino Grace at 7. The winners play Thursday at Maple Grove High School for the championship. In prep football, Osseo meets Tutino Grace for the West Division title in the Northwest Suburban Conference on Wednesday. Osseo needed to beat Elk River to stay perfect in conference play. After an Elks touchdown, Matt Medke throws to Josh Goldschmidt, who outbattles the defender for the ball. The Orioles add a 2-point conversion and lead at 8-7. Later in the first quarter, French Croix takes the pitch, and the Orioles wall off all the defenders, and he scores. It's 15-7 Osseo after a quarter. After another touchdown by Croix, Medke goes back to the air. Connor Kittelson's making a living out of catches like this one, making look easy. He scores the touchdown. The Orioles lead at 30-7 at halftime. They win 44-21 and play at Tutino Grace Wednesday for the conference title. Also in the Northwest Suburban, Champlin Park hosting Anoka. Anoka's Stephen Bartol catching the swing pass here, but he fumbles. Tony White gets to the ball first and recovers for Champlin Park. And leads to a touchdown for the Rebels. Now Moody Wakolo powers in from the 1-yard line, 7-0 Champlin Park. After another Anoka turnover, Rebels quarterback Max Beekert rolls right, keeps it himself. He's into the end zone for a touchdown. Champlin Park jumps out to a 14-0 lead. It's a strong night for the Rebels defense. Adam Camrath reading the pass here, steps in front of the receiver and makes the interception. And it doesn't take too long to lead to more points for Champlin Park. Beegert hands off to Detrice Mulsumo. He will pop free here in a 64-yard touchdown run. He goes for over 200 on the night. Rebels lead at 21-3 at halftime. They go on to beat their rivals from Anoka in the battle for the paddle. 21-10 the final. Champlin Park is at Maple Grove on Wednesday. In the North Suburban Conference, the Cooper Hawks were looking to push back over the 500 mark for the season. They faced Irondale. Check out the big hit on defense early for the Hawks. James Mayfield dropping Donovan Arthur for a loss. Cooper's offense gets to work shortly after that. Luke Lindquist to Jordan Marshall. And he's gone down the sidelines 44 yards for a touchdown. Cooper leads it 8-6. Irondale gets a big gain on the ground here. Victor James on the handoff. And he's going to go a ways, 57 yards on this run. Philip Howard chases him down from behind and led to a touchdown, though, and the Knights were up 12-8. Coach Willie Howard's team retakes the lead on a couple of Levante Taylor touchdowns. This one from 19 yards out, and Cooper beats Irondale 28-20. And that is a look at sports.
Thanks a lot, John. It might be an off-year election, but there's no shortage of candidates running for local offices.
We are covering 3 school board races and a Golden Valley City Council election in our area. And today we start with the Hopkins School Board, where we hear from incumbent Warren Goodroad and Gary Jing.
Hi, I'm Gary Jing. I've been teaching for 20 years, including at universities. Have a PhD, MBA, and a 9th grader son. Education and academic performance is my #1 concern. Spending tax dollar in a more efficient way is my second. Compared to some others, Hopkins spent more money per pupil, yet perform not as well. District now serve only 78% of its resident children, compared to 92% in 2000. Some 14% of Hopkins students enrolled in other public school districts. I'd like to focus more on Hopkins residents, all, not just some, to improve academic performance to attract people to stay in the district instead of attracting others to replace them.
I'm Warren Goodroad, and I'm running for re-election to the Hopkins School Board. I have been married to Karen and lived in the Hopkins district for 32 years. We have 4 children, all who attended Hopkins schools from kindergarten through high school. My youngest is now a junior. 4 years ago, I ran with 4 goals: improving the Hopkins educational experience, incorporating technologies into the classroom, managing the district's finances responsibly, and keeping our children safe and healthy at school. We have met these goals, but I believe we need to innovate and partner with others to deliver better educational services. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have served for the past 4 years, and I'm asking for your vote on November 5th to keep our schools and communities strong and to give our next generation the education they need.
And on Tuesday, we'll hear from 2 more Hopkins School Board candidates. We'll be right back.
And finally, there's a new winner in a Golden Valley neighborhood pumpkin growing contest.
For 17 years, the Kelly Drive pumpkin growers put on a party featuring a parade and about 1,000 visitors who greet the main event, a giant pumpkin weigh-in. The pumpkins go by names like Orange Crush, Angus, and Sasquatch.
Most people think it's about growing pumpkins and growing sunflowers, but it's really about community and really about neighborhood. The neighborhood is an extremely close neighborhood, and that's what it's really all about.
343 pounds. That 343-pound winning pumpkin was grown by Chris and Lisa Gemlow. It ends a 5-year winning streak by another family. Big pumpkin.
Yes.
We'll see you tomorrow.
A lot of fun.